Welcome back. We've arrived in Perpignan to a French victory, the first one of this year's Tour de France, but there's no change as we anticipated in the overall standings in this race, which means that Lance Armstrong is still 0 seconds behind Fabian Cancellara. But it was a hard race for them.
It was a very long testing race. A lot of nervous energy will have been dispensed, I think, Phil, on the road today on the race down towards Perpignan, because for a 20 to 30 kilometre section, they were bowling along at close to 40 miles an hour with a lot of people taking risks to stay at the front end of the main field.
Well, I have to say, you see the colourful balloons here depicting the Tour de France is in town. I thought once that split happened, and Gesink, by the way, is behind and hasn't finished yet, so he lost a lot of time. Oh, let's go back and just show you the Cadillac Performance highlights of the day. It all started all smiles from Fabian Cancellara, given the nod by 22 hundredths of a second over nearest camera Lance Armstrong after that team time trial. Then we had our usual early crash. This time it was very early, before we even started the race in the 0 kilometre. That was Gerald Cholik down. Then we got to the 0 kilometre.
But then at 0 kilometres, it was going from the gun, as they say in the jargon of professional cycling, and almost immediately out of the blocks. You can see Thomas Voeckler there from B-Box Bouygues Telecom deciding to open up the gap, and eventually a 6-man leading group prized an advantage over the front end of the main field. The big story, I have to say, though, Phil, is this young man, Robert Gesink, a man we felt could possibly finish in the top 10 overall at the Tour de France. Well, he was down and bloodied.
Not a pretty sight for the tall, lanky Robert Gesink. He never did get back to the main field. As we got round the banks of the Mediterranean, these 6 riders here looked to be certainly shot down by a splintering peloton, but they stuck to their guns. They got within 35 seconds, the peloton, thanks to the huge efforts on the left here of Fabian Cancellara and the Astana team, who were also doing a lion's chunk of the work. Look at the damage they were causing. It had to be all over for the breakaways, but it wasn't.
Well, it wasn't, and 10 kilometres to go. It looked very much as if it was all going to come back together, because that group of 6 riders were still hanging on to 1 minute and 15 seconds. And at this point, the sprinters must have thought we're going to have our chance. But no, they started to attack in their leading group. First, it was Mikhail Ignatiev, a rider from Russia, who was chased down by Albert Timmer from the Netherlands. But with 5 kilometres to go, they were still attacking each other.
Still 4 of them left as they came into the last 5 kilometres, and then inside 5 kilometres, Thomas Voeckler, once a yellow jersey of this Tour de France, jumps clear of the field. And the other 3, for the first time, hesitated. And those who hesitate are lost.
They failed on this occasion as they got to 1 kilometre to go. Thomas Voeckler went under the red kite of the international sign saying there's 1,000 metres left to go to the finish. And at that point, he looked over his shoulder. He knew he'd got it. The main field were coming in fast, but not fast enough.
This was amazing. He couldn't believe it himself. After a breakaway of over 186 kilometres, he was first home. Look at Ignatiev just on the sharp end of the peloton. He passed Timmer. Timmer got swept away, but Ignatiev hung on for second place. Well done, Thomas Voeckler. And for the French, it's been a big day. That's our Cadillac Performance highlights. There's the stage result for you. Voeckler winning by just 7 seconds over Ignatiev, and Mark Cavendish sweeping up. Valuable points though in the green jersey. Tyler Farrar right with him in 4th. Gerald Cholik, who fell off before the race started, got up to finish in 5th place today. Another big sprinter on Team Katusha, Napolitano, got home in 6th. Oscar Freire was in 9th, the top 10. Bit of a bad place there for Thor Hushovd. Only 10th for the big sprinter from Cervelo. Looking further down, Duque is also a good sprinter. He was 12th. Albert Timmer being swept away. The clock stopped him in 15th place. All of these riders timed with the same gap of 7 seconds. Arishiro, the Japanese sprinter on Bouygues Telecom, 18th. He's a good rider.